I want to apologise to our trans and gender diverse colleagues and friends. I want to apologise for the hurt you have endured, the cruelty you've been subjected to, and for the fundamental misinformation and unfairness that has shrouded this discussion over the last year, but particularly during this election. Alan Joyce and I, as co-patrons of Pride, want to apologise. Not because we said those things, not because we caused the hurt, but because somebody must. So on behalf of all of the Australians who want our society to be a bit kinder, more understanding, and vastly more respectful and civil, Alan and I humbly, respectfully, and sincerely apologise. I understand the fear and the worry when you turn up for work and every single new encounter is potentially a rejection, a loss of your employment status, or the loss of your job.
Why did you make this apology?
Well, I felt very strongly about this. Alan and I both felt strongly about it. We talked about it at length. We are the co-patrons of Pride and Diversity. It's our major awards celebration of the year, celebrating employers stepping up to make their workplaces better and more inclusive. But I really felt that during the election in particular, that our trans and gender diverse community was basically piled on. When there were so many other things that, frankly, I think the community wanted us to talk about in the election, people decided to pile on one of the most vulnerable groups in our society, and I felt very upset about it. And I know the pain and hurt that it caused many people, and I felt it was important that somebody said sorry about it.
You also shared some personal reflections about things that you've faced in the past, for example, not being invited to some family gatherings at Christmas. What about in the workplace? What do people face? What have you faced in the workplace?
Yeah, look, you do live two lives, or certainly I did in my younger career, because I think people forget that when you're LGBTQ, every single encounter you have with someone, every new encounter is an encounter where you face rejection and you face the loss of your job. So certainly in my early life, I felt I lived two lives. I never talked about what I did on the weekend. People didn't ask. I don't know why they didn't ask. Maybe they thought something horrific had happened, like you'd gone out for dinner or something. But, you just lived a very dual existence, if you will. And you were always worried that if people found out, you'd lose your job, or you'd certainly lose your chance of getting promotion. So you kind of lived under the radar. And it was very isolating and quite lonely, actually.
There are some ways that the business community really leads our society on these sorts of issues. Do you find in this area, this is an area where business is leading, or is it yet to take up that opportunity?
Oh no, business is leading on this, and that was the whole point of our awards. We had 186 organisations participate in the index, the survey. We had 45,000 individuals participate. But, I handed out award after award after award to small and big businesses, to public sector organisations. Businesses leading the way on so many issues, whether it's climate, whether it's gender diversity, whether it's LGBTQ recognition. Business does that, and they're not doing it, and this is a really important point I made on Friday, they're not doing it to tick some woke box, right? They're doing it because they know it makes good business. They know that if their teams feel included, if people can be themselves at work, they're productive, they're happy, they're more creative, they stick with their employer. That's why they do it, not because, we better tick some woke box. And I always get frustrated when people say, business is just doing this to tick a woke box. They're not doing it for that reason at all.
Progress clearly has been made in many areas and is being made. What is there left to do?
Oh, there's a lot left to do. What was interesting in the survey was that pre-COVID, more people were out at work. This time there were less, quite substantially. And one of the indicators that we sort of celebrated, but I found it a bit depressing, was that people were being subject to less offensive language. But you see, sexual harassment amongst LGBT communities is higher. We've got a long way to go on these issues, on gender diversity, on so many issues in the workplace. But the whole point is for business to lead the way. They are leading the way, and I'm proud to represent them. But boy, as a society, we've got a lot of work to do. And I think the election campaign and the language that was used to describe people shows as a society, we've got a lot of work to do.
Just finally and briefly, what's been the response to the speech?
Oh, just huge response, huge support from so many quarters. And obviously, you know, there were like 1,000 people at the event. People were moved. So many people, when I presented their awards, you know, they were still very distressed. They were very sad, but they were very, grateful's not the right word, but they were sort of, thank you for saying that. Thank you for acknowledging our pain and our hurt. But you could see that you'd really touched that pain and that hurt in people, and people were very moved.